Hello and welcome to Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio. This is Stefan, your host, British by birth, American by choice. The Founding Fathers crafted some remarkable documents that led to the creation of a great country founded on liberty and self-reliance. I have lived in the Euro-socialist nightmare, and I'm doing what I can to return this country to the vision that the Founding Fathers gave us. We need to strive to rebuild that shining city on the hill, for without us, the world has nowhere to turn for freedom. For the next hour, I will be presenting news, views, and guests that help keep the true spirit of America alive. And good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whenever you're listening to the show. This is Stefan, your Patrick Come Lately, welcoming you to episode 346. I think that's right. And yes, we are about 8 weeks away from the inauguration. Things are moving along very quickly, so I'm going to talk tonight a little bit about some transition things, and of course also a number of things going on the side, which are really pretty interesting. Before I start, of course, as ever, welcome everybody in the chat room. Mary's there. Rex is there. So hi there, and once again, thanks to Rex for last week's interview. It was nice to speak to him again on the air. I have spoken to him just a couple of times since his prior interviews, and we do exchange emails every so often. But nice to have him live on the show. So Mary's asking, what's the YUGE announcement? I'm going to get to that shortly. I can keep you on tender hooks, but I promise I'm not going to wait till the end of the show before I do anything. So, folks, let's start off with some of the topics. One of the things that happened this weekend was the death of Fidel Castro. Was it this weekend? This week? Last week? Anyway, a few days ago. And, of course, all sorts of reaction to that. Down in Little Havana in Florida, there were celebrations. Nobody would dare celebrate in the police state of Cuba itself. His Royal Highness King Barry put out a very weak, wishy-washy statement. Didn't condemn him at all. Donald Trump did, but King Barry put out a weak, wishy-washy statement. However, the statement that really caught everybody's attention kind of surprised me, but then I did a little bit of digging, and then you say, well, shouldn't have surprised me. Shouldn't have surprised us. And that was the statement put out by the Prime Minister of Canada, yes, Mr. Trudeau. He is the son of the famous Pierre Trudeau, Justin Trudeau. And he put out a statement, and he basically, in his statement, he remembered the late president as a legendary revolutionary and orator. Kind of totally glossing over the fact that this guy was basically a brutal dictator, a brutal murderer, and just absolutely superbly bad for the Cuban people. So there was a firestorm on Twitter and in Canada, outside Canada, and now it turns out that Mr. Trudeau, or maybe I should say Monsieur Trudeau, has decided that it would not be good for him to actually go down to Havana or wherever the burial is going to be. I don't know if it's in Havana itself or whether it's going to be in one of the cities. I know his body was taken to Santiago. It's a city on the Cuban coast where the revolution kind of started over 50 years ago. But Trudeau has decided he can't go there just because of this backlash about the fact that he did not really say the truth about Fidel Castro. As I said, Donald Trump's statement was right on and said immediately that he was bad for the Cuban people, and also Donald said that when he gets into the White House, he will reverse everything that our friend King Barry has done with regarding opening up the Cuban economy to our dollars. And one of the interesting things is that there is actually a Cuban law. There is a Cuban law that says if you work for a foreign company, and of course there are a number of foreign companies in Cuba now, because a lot of European companies and hotel companies have resorts in Cuba. Obviously it's a tropical island, it's a nice place to be, but anybody who works for a foreign company automatically has to give 92% of their income to the government. In other words, to the Castros, or now to the Castro. 92% of their income, because basically these foreign companies are indeed paying reasonably good wages compared to what a regular Cuban earns, which is about $20 a month. Yes, you heard it right, $20 a month. And so to prevent any disparity, and also to make sure that all these, because they're getting paid in foreign currency, which Cuba really needs, so in order to get their hands on all of that foreign currency, 92%. So welcome to the socialist workers' paradise, folks. Anytime you hear a Sean Penn or any other of those nutcases talking about how good it is down there, and education and free medicine, etc., just think about that, though. 92% of their income from these foreign companies is taken off of them. And also, don't even dare laugh at the fact that Castro has died. Don't even show any kind of a celebration. Boom, you'll be in jail, or worse, you will just disappear. So just really unbelievable how bad things are there. Okay. Next topic, and then we'll get to the YUGE announcement, folks. Recount. I'm trying to make sense of why they really want these recounts. Originally, it was only Jill Stein, and I have to say I saw one or two other commentators on TV or on the net with the same idea, basically saying that the Clinton campaign, so Hillyer, hypocritical Hillary, who had lambasted Trump for the fact that he said he might not accept the results of the election. And now, of course, she's doing exactly that. Well, she would be if she initiated the recounts, but Jill Stein did. Well, Jill Stein got sort of about 1% of the vote. So technically, I guess, according to the way the law is written, she can request a recount. She doesn't get an automatic one because the margin was too large. But apparently some of these states have the capability to request a recount if there's any obvious fraud. And so Jill Stein is claiming that. Well, my initial reaction was, Jill Stein's not claiming that. She's been given a whole pile of money from the Clintons that they could actually initiate this recount without being seen to initiate it, because Hillary had just been so totally fixated and lambasting Donald Trump about not accepting the result of the election, and she couldn't be seen to do that. So that was my initial reaction. Like I said, a few commentators agreed with me, or came to the same conclusion, I should say. But what happened in the end is that the campaign did get on board with Jill Stein. Now, I still suspect that Jill was put up to it and given money by the Clinton campaign or Clinton donors to help pay off perhaps some of her debts. And others are now saying that she's actually doing it as a fundraising thing. Maybe, I don't know, but I just can't really think why they're doing it. And of course, now that it's initiated, it was kind of safe for the Clinton campaign to come on board and say, "Yeah, we agree with this, so we'll join in with it." But then they can claim to keep the high road and say, "But we never initiated. We're just going along with it." Like I said, I just think I have no trust whatsoever in the Clintons and their machine, and I just think they wanted to initiate it, didn't want to be seen to initiate it, and it was all done by proxy through Jill Stein. Now, I may be wrong. We'll find out. But again, that's about the only reason I can think for it. Why else would they want to do it? Why would they want to do it? Is it... now, it may be an opportunity for Soros and his friends to sneak in some recently discovered votes, if you catch my drift, ones that might have been manufactured after the election, and that way skew the results. That could be one of the things. And in the chat room, Mary said, "Oh, is Soros not one of the people that gave money?" Probably, because it wasn't just the campaign, but it was also Clinton donors. But come on, that's one and the same thing. Yeah, they have these PACs, and they got billions of dollars going through them. And you don't think the campaign is telling them what to do with the money? All that collusion? Of course, there's collusion. So, which is totally illegal, of course. But as you know, the Clintons don't care what's illegal; they just do whatever they want. But so. I just don't understand why they were doing it, and we're hearing now that the Democratic person in charge of the Wisconsin recount has already said it's not going to change the result, and Jill Stein is apparently suing them because they refused to do a hand recount. They were just going to look at the numbers and retally them that way coming out of the machines, and Jill Stein is saying, "Oh, that's not... it's not what we wanted. It's not what we paid for." The bad news is Jill Stein did get her cash into the supervisor of elections or secretary of state or whoever it is in Wisconsin. They had to do that by today, this afternoon. Apparently they got the $3.5 million in. There's another $2.5 million that are going to be needed for Pennsylvania and Michigan, because I think those are the other two that they're threatening to do. Now, I did hear a rumor that Pennsylvania, I thought Pennsylvania was going to had to be submitted by tomorrow or Friday, but I heard a rumor that one had already passed. So if Pennsylvania's already passed the date for the recount, then that would be interesting, because I think then, even if Michigan and Wisconsin were to get recounted and they were able to fudge enough newly found votes in there, I think it wouldn't make a difference. But I'm not sure about the numbers, so who knows. But anyway, we'll see. And if Wisconsin makes no difference, then we're going to be good. Well, I see that the clock has been running as usual, And so I'm going to have to keep you on tenterhooks for just a couple of minutes longer, but I promise after the break I'm going to I am going to tell you about this huge announcement, and I will take a sip of beer, and not one of my own tonight. I am not at home. Yesterday morning I got an email and had to jump on the plane this morning and headed out to Dallas. So I'm in the great state of Texas this week for another couple of days, leave Thursday evening. But so I'm drinking a beer called the Pride of Texas, which I thought was a good one for tonight. But first of all, folks, commercial and then a huge announcement.
You can lose 10, 20, 30 pounds or more with Maximum Slim's first ever rapid weight loss guarantee. Today, you get Maximum Slim, an advanced fat and carb blocker, absolutely risk-free. The all-natural ingredients in Maximum Slim are a powerful weight loss combination. The Maximum Slim formula turns your body into a fat-burning furnace that supercharges your weight loss. Advanced fat and carb blocker stops the breakdown of sugar so your body doesn't store it as fat. Today, you'll get both of these products absolutely risk-free with no obligation. Only pay shipping. There are no expensive meal plans or exhausting DVDs. Just take Maximum Slim twice a day. It's fast, simple, and now it's guaranteed. Look, you can start losing weight today or not. Go back to your high school days and wear your favorite jeans again. Guaranteed. Call now and get both weight loss formulas free. Call 800-451-0228. 800-451-0228. That's 800-451-0228.
Doc, you gotta give it to me straight.
All right.
'Cause I'm dying here. I mean, take a look at this letter from the IRS.
Oh, my.
This is killing me, Doc. I tell you, it's killing me.
Cheer up, my friend.
Huh?
The tax doctor is here. My diagnosis tells me that you're going to be just fine.
Really?
The tax doctor will not rest until we find you the best possible tax settlement.
Really, Doc?
Guaranteed.
If the IRS claims you owe them $10,000 or more in business or personal back taxes, call a tax doctor right now. We could save you up to 75% if you qualify. Guaranteed or you pay nothing. Call right now for free details.
800-917-8546. 800-917-8546. 800-917-8546. That's 800-917-8546.
You're listening to Patriot Come Lately Talk Radio, broadcast on the internet, and also available at archives.patriotcomelately.us, a proud member of the Red Nation Rising Radio Network. Okay, folks, thanks for sticking with me through the break, although I kind of kept you hanging there on tenterhooks. So I'm fully expecting you to stick around, both the people that are live tonight and also those of you that are listening to the recordings. Anyway, so the huge announcement, and of course the huge part of it does involve, at least one part of it does involve Donald Trump, and I'm very pleased to announce that I have made plans to head on up to Washington in the middle of January. Well, bit past the middle. Yes, I'm going right now. I have plans to be up in Washington on the 20th of January, which, as all of you will know, is Inauguration Day. It's a little bit of a story there. My wife said, "Oh, it would be so nice to go up there," and I said, "Well, it's going to be very expensive, but you know, if you want to have a look, so." You know, go in and have a look at some hotels. So she went in and looked at some hotels, and she sort of, her face dropped, and she looked at me and she said, "They're charging $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a night for ordinary hotels. You know, the kind of the luxury hotels are $4,000 a night, but even things like Courtyards and whatever." Anything in the Washington area are charging that much. So I said, yeah, well, do you still want to go? She said, no, not for that amount of money. And then she said, but we could take the RV and go up there. Now, there is a very nice campsite just on the Beltway there, on the north part of the Beltway, where I-95 comes into the Beltway before it goes around Washington. So on the north part, heading up to Baltimore, and just in the corner there's a very nice campsite. We've stayed there before when we go up to the Washington area. Very, very nice. So she said, I'm going to take a look. She looked online and they said, if you're coming for the inaugural week, please give us a call. You can't reserve online. So she said, okay, I'll give them a call. I said, well, if the hotels are $2,000 a night, what do you think the campsite will be? Well, it turned out that they are not charging any extra for that period. The only thing they ask is for a deposit, and I think it's one night's deposit. And if you cancel at any time, you lose that deposit. And you also had to have a minimum of 2 nights. We're actually going to be up there 3 nights. So Patrick Come Lately will be up at the inauguration. I don't think we're going to get invited to any of the balls or anything. That would be nice, but again, they are also quite expensive. But we will be on the mall the day of the inauguration. I don't think we'll see anything. I'm going to DVR it because I'll see a lot more on the TV than I ever would actually on the mall. But just the fun of being there, and I fully intend to actually record some of the sights and sounds, and I will play them on my show the Tuesday after the inauguration. So the inauguration is on Friday. We will drive back Saturday. We'll leave the campsite Saturday, and normally we can get home in a day, but we might take a day and a half, just take it easy to get back Sunday. So Tuesday I will be able to play some of the sights and sounds of being in Washington. Now, some of it is going to be good, obviously, the inauguration itself. Some of it could be interesting because all sorts of left-wing people threatening demonstrations, etc. So it could be an interesting set of recordings that get played on there. But anyway, so that will get played on that Tuesday, which is 9 shows away, and that is also going to be a very special show. And Rex in the chat room was kind of hinting at it. I have indeed decided to, at least for the time being, to hang up my microphone. So the show after the inauguration will be the last Patrick Come Lately show. Whether or not I might take it up again after I retire, which is also going to happen sometime in 2017, we'll see. But for the moment, I've been thinking about it for a while, and I have to be honest, if Hillary had won, I probably would have only had 1 or 2 shows after the election, and I would have stopped. But with Trump coming on board, I've been doing this for 7 years now, and I've spent 7 years fighting to replace regressive totalitarianism, replace it with liberty. And while Donald Trump is not quite as much of a liberty person as I would call ideal, he's still a lot better than anything that we could have had. Let's face it, he was probably the only non-regressive candidate ever in the race that has any chance of making America great again. So anyway, after 7 years, I kind of think my job is done. I'm going to keep my eye on Trump. As Mary says, you need to keep tabs on Trump. If I think things are going in the wrong direction, that might be encouragement to start again. Of course, I'll be retired by then, so it could be at a slightly different time. And I've spoken with some of the, at least a couple of the principals of some of the networks that rebroadcast, so Red Nation Rising and also with the 405 Media, and both of them have said that they would welcome me back should I wish to start again, but they understand me wanting to stop. As I said, 7 years, it's been a long time, and I've really enjoyed doing it, but I think it's time to take a breather, and let's just give the guy a chance. Let's see what happens. I'm still pretty optimistic. I don't think he'll be able to do everything that he promised, and I think anybody that expects Trump to do everything that he promised is in a little bit in cloud cuckoo land. But let's face it, if he can do half of what he was talking about, America will be so much better off anyway. And if he does more than half, it's all icing on the cake. So we'll see. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. So we'll see what happens in that respect. So and so I don't want to get too teary-eyed right now. Do want to just mention right now, I do thank all my listeners for the support over the 7 years. We have, I think I counted down, including this show. This would be show 9 from the end. So this is 9. I will be counting them down. So after tonight, there will be, I think, another 8 shows, including that inaugural special. I think the one before the inauguration, I may do a replay of my show 100. That was rather an interesting one that was originally done around about the time we were expecting Donald Trump. King Barry to get beaten by Romney, but he didn't, and so that was a rather interesting one. A little bit of a look to the future. The future never quite happened perhaps as bleak as that show 100 painted, but it'd be interesting to listen to it again and see what actually did happen from what I was forecasting in that kind of fictional show. So that will get sent out as sort of the penultimate, or maybe 1 or 2 shows before that. I'll let you know when that's going to be broadcast. And then, like I said, inaugural will be the final one, and I'll take a bit more time to thank my listeners, etc. So let's see, we got a couple of minutes, so let's stay on Trump and some of the good things that are happening. Mary mentioned he's already talked Carrier to staying in Indianapolis. I haven't seen anything official. I know they have been talking. I believe Ford has already said that they are going to be staying. They're not going to be moving. So if you take, let's just be positive, assume Carrier does stay and Ford stays, though there are some jobs already that he's created. And of course, he also jokingly says, what about all these protesters that are getting paid? There's also a bunch of jobs that Trump has already created, and he's not even president yet. So, it's starting off well. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope that it does. I think most people are pretty happy with most of his cabinet picks. I saw that tonight he was yet again having dinner with Mr. Romney, and Reince Priebus and Trump and Romney were having dinner. So that means he's met with them a couple of times. I know there's been a lot of people like Newt and Mike Huckabee and even Kellyanne Conway sort of saying, hey, the base doesn't really want Romney. But I think what Newt said was right. We will support him. We will give him the chance. Let's think about it. Lincoln brought in a cabinet of rivals as well. So there is precedence for it. I would be disappointed. I don't think Romney's the right guy, but it also shows that Trump is ready to invite whoever in that he thinks is good for the country, and not just people who've been loyal to him. Now, on the other hand, it would be a disappointment not to reward someone that's loyal to him, I think. But we can also say, if he thinks Romney is the best guy, I trust his judgment. Hiring people is one of his strengths, and so I think he does a good job on that. And if he says he thinks Romney is better than anyone else, I will trust him on that. Anyway, and Mary's just put a link in the chat room. I can see that says Carrier says deal with Trump to keep jobs in Indiana on Yahoo. So it looks like it is official. Thank you, Mary. Appreciate that. Okay, Mary, I'm afraid to say, after giving me that good news,